Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to the Mental Wellness Wake Up Show, a weekly podcast where growth minded, creative people come to learn best practices from both spirituality and psychology that create lasting well being. I am your host, mental wellness expert, improvised acting teacher, therapist, and coach, Dawn McMillan. Let's get to it. Welcome, you gorgeous people. Welcome, welcome. We are going to jump right in. I am having an interesting experience at the moment as I record this for you. My cough has been kind of bad today. We are experiencing some poor air where I am. I've got a fly buzzing around, but we're just going to go with it. Why? Because the present moment is always the only moment. So let's enjoy it. Okay. Enneagram. We are doing the Enneagram. So if you're just joining us, you can jump right in with us to explore this 9-pointed wisdom system. And also feel free to hop on back and listen to the whole series because they are independent, but part of what we're doing here is we're connect all of the Enneagram types. So the Enneagram is 9 points on a circle. And it has been my contention for a long time that this wisdom system isn't about navel gazing and justifying why you are how you are. It's not meant to be a personality thing only because we're too complex, too delightful, too mysterious, too amazing to fit into any single description. Rather, what the Enneagram is showing us is where we are, how we tend to behave, and it gives us all these wonderful descriptions of all the other personality types and how we can relate to them externally. And what I am about is helping us understand how to integrate them internally. That's what we're up to. And if you're here for the first time, one, I'm delighted. And two, let's jump in. My continuing listeners, I adore you. You are here and you don't have to be. So thank you. Okay, so let's jump in. All right, so what do we call the Enneagram 5? The Enneagram 5 is the thinker, the innovator, the observer, the specialist, the radical, the expert, the observer. So as we're moving into Enneagrams 5, 6, and 7, you will recall that Enneagram 8, 9, and 1 are considered the body center or the gut center. These people are more likely to be kinesthetic learners, to go with their gut, to feel things and be drawn into action that way. And a lot of the ways that they end up being characterized as 8, 9, or 1 is in how they respond to anger. And you'll recall that 2s, 3s, and 4s are considered our feeling center or our heart center. These are the more emotionally driven types. And 2s, 3s, and 4s are often categorized around their sense of shame. Enneagram 5s, at their best, are analytical, persevering, sensitive, wise, objective, perceptive, self-contained. 5s at their worst are intellectually arrogant, stingy, stubborn, distant, critical of others, unassertive, and negative. Ouch. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about my people, the Enneagram 5. So a lot of people are surprised to learn that I'm an Enneagram 5. They're like, you're a goofball, number 1. You're an actor, number 2, and you seem to have social skills. What do you mean you're an Enneagram 5? And that is just a reminder that you can't always type people by how they appear. So much of the Enneagram is about what motivates you from the interior. So you can't always tell. So let's talk some more about this Enneagram type 5, the investigator. Basic fear of being helpless, useless, incapable, or overwhelmed. The basic desire is to be capable and competent. And the superego message, remember superego, ego, id, these are our Freudian categories of the interior of a human being, the id being our impulses and urges, the ego being our personality, and the superego being our conscience or the voice of society. So Enneagram 5s, that superego message is you are good or okay if you have mastered something. So in the Riso Hudson system, they talk about Enneagram 5s, the intense cerebral type, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. So here's a quote from an Enneagram 5 that they interviewed for this book. And he says this: being a 5 means always needing to learn, to take in information about the world. A day without learning is like a day without sunshine. As a 5, I want to have an understanding of life. I like having a theoretical explanation about why things happen as they do. This understanding makes me feel in charge and in control. I most often learn from a distance as an observer and not as a participant. Sometimes it seems that understanding life is as good as living it. It is a difficult journey to learn that life must be lived and not just studied. Ooh, wow. Totally relatable. So, one of the things to keep in mind if you are in a relationship with an Enneagram 5, one of the things that Enneagram 5s are challenged with is moving into action. Enneagram 5s love to live inside their head, their books, their data, their information. I will raise my hand and confess to being an information hoarder. Like, I love to know things. They don't have to be useful things. I just love to know things. And Enneagram 5s are often, we have our special interests, as the ADHD kids like to call it. We get our special interests and we can sometimes get really obsessed and really go deep with something. One thing you might notice about an Enneagram 5 is that if we're focused on something, the rest of the world is dead to us. Dead to us. So if you are in a relationship with an Enneagram 5 and you think they're ignoring you, they're probably just thinking real hard. So what is an Enneagram 5's level of development? Because remember, we're looking at finding out where we are or our loved ones are, and then all of us, regardless of our primary way of focusing at the world, learning how to integrate the gifts of the Enneagram 5 so that we can all grow. So, unhealthy Enneagram 5 at a level 9, seeking oblivion, self-annihilation, feeling that they can no longer defend themselves from their pain and terror. Unhealthy 5s want to escape from reality. In some cases, they attempt to accomplish this through psychotic breaks or schizoid withdrawal. They may also try to escape through suicide. It could be theorized that the Unabomber was an Enneagram 5. Oh, so proud. Okay, so level 8. Horrified, delirious. At a level 8, an Enneagram 5. 5s feel so small and helpless that almost everything becomes ominous to them. They are filled with dark fantasies and strange perceptions. They resist all help, shrinking away from people into feverish nightmares and insomnia. They cannot stop their overheated minds. Sidebar, there's this Turkish TV show, I think it's called Hot Head, maybe? And it's about this virus that makes people's heads get super hot. It's really cool if you like Turkish TV shows. Okay, level 7. Remember 7, 8, and 9 in this system, the Riso Hudson system, we're talking about really unhealthy versions of an Enneagram 5. Unhealthy 5s fear that they are incapable of finding a place in the world, and this may be true. To gain some security, they cut off all connections with the world, retreating into an isolated and increasingly empty world. They reject all but the most basic needs, but are still plagued by fears. So I always imagine, you're driving cross country in the US. It's a big country. You can drive cross country and much of it is empty. And you'll see like some little house or trailer like out in the middle of nowhere. And I always think, who are those people? Probably an Enneagram 5. I'm just saying. Okay, moving on up to an averagely developed Enneagram 5. And so these levels are not rigid. I wish that they were, that you could evolve to one and never fall down into a lower level. However, when we are stressed, we can sometimes devolve. If you're in this community, we are seeking to love ourselves as we are and continue to evolve and expand. However, sometimes we can backtrack a little bit. And that, my beloved human friends, is no big deal. Just means you're human. Okay, level 6. Enneagram 5s are extreme and provocative. 5s fear that others will threaten the niche they have been creating, so they try to fend people off. They resent the apparent confidence and calm of others and enjoy subverting their beliefs. Their own ideas can be bizarre and disturbing, and they are scornful of those who cannot understand them. You've run into this person on the internet, I guarantee you. Guarantee you. They're the whatabouters, and then they talk about some conspiracy theory that even other conspiracy theorists think is odd. Okay, so moving up, level 5. Level 5 Enneagram 5s are detached and preoccupied. 5s worry that the needs of others will distract them from their projects, so they shut out intrusions by intensifying their mental activity. They minimize their needs, become high-strung, cerebral, and secretive. They spend more time alone, speculating and elaborating on alternative realities. And so at this level, remember when I said that an Enneagram 5, if they're really focusing on something, they may not actually hear you? It's kind of like a superpower of an Enneagram 5. And at this level 5, it's being turned into a super fault. The minimizing their needs, right? We're talking not showering, forgetting to go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff, and being really immersed in a mental world. Okay, level 4. Conceptualizing, preparing. So this is the top of the average Enneagram 5. And when you think about unhealthy, average, and healthy, I don't think that we can divide up the population of Enneagram 5s into thirds or any of these. There's going to be different levels of distribution throughout any particular society or culture. The other thing to keep in mind is that the Enneagram numbers are not distributed equally. For example, my people, the Enneagram 5s, are a very small part of the population. It's believed that much of the American population are Enneagram 6s, for example, so on and so forth. Just something a rabbit hole that you can go down if you're an Enneagram 5 and you love rabbit holes. Okay, where was I? Level 4, conceptualizing and preparing. 5s begin to fear that their skills are insufficient and that they need to prepare more before they can take their place in the world. They feel unsure of themselves in many areas, preferring to inhabit the safety of their minds. They study, practice, and collect more knowledge, resources, and skills. So one of the weaknesses of being an Enneagram 5 is the ability to research. Right. So I noticed this in myself. I love to collect certifications. I love to collect degrees. I can research the heck out of something. But what Enneagram 5s are challenged to do is to move in to a bias toward action. That's the growth edge for Enneagram 5s, out of your head and into your body. And one way that shows up is the Enneagram system can be grouped in many different ways. Right now, we're doing the bird's eye view of grouping by body centers. But another way that Enneagrams are grouped are how they sort of shift into behaving like other Enneagram types, whether they're well-resourced or stressed. So a well-resourced Enneagram 5 is actually going to move into being a little bit like an Enneagram 8, right? And Enneagram 8s take action. They're very action oriented. Sometimes it gets them in trouble, right? Because they're going to go with their gut. They're going to jump into action. They're going to make things happen. So as an Enneagram 5 becomes more integrated, they're going to bring in more of that Enneagram 8 energy. Okay, now we're moving into healthy. Woohoo! So at a level 3 of healthy, an Enneagram 5 is focused and innovative. Fives reinforce their self-image by mastering a body of knowledge or skills that will make them competent and strong. Not wishing to compete with others, they prefer to explore new ideas and forms. Their tinkering can result in profoundly original ideas, inventions, and art. Whoop, whoop. Okay, moving up. Level 2, healthy Enneagram 5, is observant and perceptive. Fives focus on the environment so they can feel confident to function in it and develop skills to defend against their basic fear. Self-image, I am smart, curious, and independent. And then moving up to a level 1, well-integrated, healthy Enneagram 5 is going to be participating and visionary. Fives let go of the belief that they are separate from the environment, an outside observer, and are thus able to confidently engage in life. They also paradoxically achieve their basic desire to be capable and competent and able to live in the world. They then become clear-minded, knowing, profound, and compassionate. So you can see that this tendency that Enneagram 5s have to think and analyze and observe and deeply explore, when it's used in a holistic way and when it's used in collaboration with the environment, meaning the people and the things around them, you can actually have an Enneagram 5 be a real contribution to others. So if you are an Enneagram 5, first of all, holla. Second of all, your social role is the expert, and what you are guided to do is to connect. To connect. Do not minimize your needs. You have a body. Run, jump, yoga, bike, hoop, whatever you need to do, use your body, because it is so easy for us to get lost in our heads. And I know it's fun in there. It's fun in there, but come out into the real world. There's a quote from an Enneagram 5 here in the Rizo Hudson book, which is, I don't need much, but I need my space. Yeah. So over here in the Baron Wigeli book, what I like about being a 5, standing back and viewing life objectively, coming to a thorough understanding, perceiving causes and effects, my sense of integrity, doing what I think is right and not being influenced by social pressure, not being caught up in material possessions and status, being calm in a crisis. That's my superpower. What's hard about being a 5? Being slow to put my knowledge and insights out in the world, feeling bad when I act defensive or like a know-it-all. Oh my God. Middle school, junior high school me, not so good. Being pressured to be with people when I don't want to be. What's hard about being a 5? Watching others with better social skills but less intelligence or technical skill do better professionally, or having trouble expressing some of my thoughts succinctly. So that's our Enneagram 5. So I'm just flipping through my my books to see if there's any other little juicy tidbits. Okay, here's a good quote. G.K. Chesterton. At the back of our brains, so to speak, there's a forgotten blaze or a burst of astonishment at our own existence. The object of the artistic and spiritual life is to dig for this submerged sunrise of wonder. Ooh, that's good. Oh, this is getting long. Of course, I'm like, it's me, y'all. It's me. So our invitation for all of us is, it's about the balance of internal and external. So if you are not an Enneagram 5, what you can borrow from the Enneagram 5 is that moment of observation and seeking understanding before reacting. To explore what is with your head, heart, and body and then react, then respond. So in cognitive behavioral therapy, all the behavioral therapies, we talk about the space between stimulus and response. Before the cause and the effect, there is a space. And if you can insert your attention and your awareness and your consciousness into that space, you no longer have to be triggered into behaving in ways that don't serve you. And that's a gift you can get from the Enneagram 5. Learn, observe, consider, think, analyze, and then integrate that with your heart wisdom, your body wisdom, and all the other gifts that you uniquely bring to the world. All right. There you go. So next we're going to be diving into the Enneagram 6, which is super cool because Enneagram 6s show up in 2 different types. I know. It almost makes me think there should be like a 6 and a 6 prime or something like that. If you've listened this far, you're awesome. And I really feel compelled to tell you. And I know because as an Enneagram 5, I have the research with the footnotes. Okay? So hear me now, believe me later. You're wonderful. Seriously, I want you to go look at yourself in the mirror and just be in awe of yourself. Think of everything you lived through. And here you are, doing your best with what you have. And let me tell you, you look good while you're at it. You are whole. You are perfect. You are complete. And you are worthy and deserving of all good things. Until next time.